Good morning. Welcome to Shields and Arrows. I am Pastor Mark Baze, and here we defend the faith, we defend the family, and the fellowship. We have quite a bit to get to today. I'm excited to get started. Thank you all for joining us here today, those who we have here with us. And let's see here. Brides and grooms, their ages are rising while the birth rates continue to fall. Non-woke sports teams are dominating, and Christians are not the elect of God. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So a few things to start off with are semi-current events, but at the end of the day, everything is theology. How you view the world, the purpose of the things that we do, very much are tied to our theology and what we believe about the Bible. So that being said, let's get into our current events with starting off, talking about the age of people getting married. The average age, very interesting, is for men right at 30. I mean, right on the dot. 30 years old. Women, it's 28 years old. And these people, not only are they waiting a very long time to get married, they are waiting even a long time after that to have kids. Used to, families would have a whole bunch of kids, and nowadays it's one, maybe two, is that all that these families are having. And I want to talk about why that's a very, very bad thing. You see, the act of getting married and that commitment permanently changes you. At least it should, because no longer is this life, the things that you're doing, the decisions you're making, going to be about you. It's going to be about you and your spouse. And then, of course, the children that will come later. And there is something fundamental about making you grow up whenever you get married. I had to do a lot of growing up. It took a while. My wife had to work on me after we got married, and still works on me this day. And maybe I'd help her as well. Us both become better people. But you have to take on some responsibility. These couples, for one, they're waiting forever to get married. And then whenever they do get married, they're still waiting to have kids. That's almost a thing now, that married couples just don't have kids. Yeah, Trent's a young buck around here. He's 19, and he is married, and he acts a lot more mature than many people who are, honestly, nearly twice his age at this point. Getting married makes you grow up. It makes you be a man. And first of all, talking about having kids, that's the most efficient way to grow our churches. If you want to grow the church, have a bunch of kids. It's amazing to me how churches nowadays, there'll be some young people, but there's not hardly any kids in church because the young people are not getting married. They're not having kids. If you want to bring new Christians into the world, if you want to make new Christians, how about you make them? Have children. Have large families. There's something fundamentally good about being fruitful, multiplying, fulfilling that responsibility man was given. And it will change the way you see the world. If you are not very conservative before having kids will more than likely make you pretty conservative, because that's what's going on around you. And so kids fundamentally do change the way that you view the world, the way that you think. Now, one of the things that I noticed, especially about younger women, it seems that they increasingly have less interest in getting married early on. There's many young women in the church today who are in their early, mid, even late 20s, and they still don't have any plans of getting married. This isn't because they can't find a decent man. It's not easy, but they're out there, and they probably go to your churches. But they simply have this idea of they're going to live a life for a long time of singleness, dedicated to serving the Lord, whatever the case may be. I'm telling you right now, getting married and having children is the way that you are going to save our culture, our society, the churches, okay? That is the best thing that you as a woman can do. And I know that may make the feminists mad, but I don't care what the feminists think. If you are serious about helping your church, have a bunch of babies and teach them about God. That's going to help the church. That's our assurance that there's going to be a future generation to come after us, and they are going to take us where we left off.
All right, so there you go. One moment, please. Let me fix our audio here. There we go. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. You may have thought what was going on there. I just wanted to take a moment, pull out one of the older episodes and just reflect on how far we have come concerning this ministry, concerning the Daily Show, concerning the people that follow us. So that was filmed 11 months ago. I think the actual date was January 9th. So we are coming upon nearly an entire year of Shields and Arrows, reflecting back on the day. And so with that, some of you probably are watching that and you're thinking, hey, hold on now. What's the deal here? No, I still got the mustache. Sorry, I think I tricked some of you. You thought that this was going to be the whole show. No, there's a reason why, I'm looking at your comments here. Somebody said, sound isn't too clear. Yeah, that's because I was using a microphone at that time that was a fraction of the cost of what I'm using now. And so, all that being said, thank you. All right. First and foremost, thank you that you've been with me all this time. There's so many of you. Like I look, there's Trent, and I see that Chuck's there, Nancy, and Ken wasn't too far behind. Eventually, Alan found us through the small church video. Rick eventually found us through the small church video. A number of you, and we have been doing Shields and Arrows for coming up on a year now. And a lot has changed, okay? Obviously, that was when we were in the hotel. I was waiting on the kiddos to arrive. And so you can see every day, every morning I would come in with my case of stuff, and I would be carrying it in, setting it up, hoping that everything worked right. And now we have a setup at home, which works so much better most of the time. And you were there with me in the early days when we switched back to my house and the Wi-Fi was not very good, and I struggled to be able to get a good strong signal sent out. And so I saw Nancy says I looked younger. Here's the thing, probably once this is gone, I'm gonna look like a little kid again, okay? And just you wait. All right, just stay tuned, you'll see. So that was after I got a little bit of equipment. Now, the very first episode of Shields and Arrows, I'll go back and I'll show you. Here's actually episode number 2. I can show you that one. And episode number 2 was filmed entirely on a laptop. So there's me chatting away, and complete with like frames skipping and whatnot. And I want to see if I can pull up and find the picture of that original laptop that I first started to use. Many of you were on my email list before we even started this ministry. And I haven't done as much email activity lately, just because most of you are able to keep up with me. But if I go way, way back to our emails, I bet I could maybe find the original email that I sent to let you know, hey, our ministry is kind of in need of a few things. And so let's see here. I'm going back there. I want to show you the picture that I sent out in the email of this laptop that I was using. Looking at all these different, looking at everybody that was with me during this time. Let's see. Maybe I can find it. If not, then I will. Maybe I'll just move on here. But I really want to show you because it is quite funny. Because we started so I started this email list actually back in the fall of last year. So as far as Mark Baze Ministries having the email list and you tracking with me and me doing articles and posting sermon notes, that's been going on for over a year. And I was trying to get by on some equipment that I had, and it was getting to the point where I was really needing to get some better equipment. The things that I was wanting to do was just not going to be possible with what I currently had. And let's see here as I'm going through my list here of the emails. I may not be able to find it, but some of you may remember that I sent out this request letting you all know, hey, I am in need of a new computer. I need a new laptop. And the reason with the problem with my laptop was for a few reasons. Number one, it was extremely slow. And that's because it was a number of years old. I'd used it in college and everything. But then also, it was being held together with duct tape. That's why I was wanting to go back and see if I could find the email. And I'm way back here in my email logs, trying to track it down to see if I can show you. I can't quite remember when I sent out the email to try to ask people about all this. But anyways, you all delivered. Long story short, you delivered. And I quickly was able to get a new computer when we were at the hotel. So there was a Best Buy that was nearby, rhyming there, and I was able to pick it up. And that wasn't the last thing that you did for me. So the first major thing that you equipped me to do was get this computer right here. That this was the first major donation provision that you helped make possible. And then the next thing, as you could see watching the old video, our audio quality was just not very good at all. A number of you said it was hard to hear. Can you figure something out? And I said, well, if you can help me get a better mic, then we can have a much better quality audio. And once again, you all came through in an amazing way. And then after that, it was the camera. And so you continued to support me and help me get off the ground. And I was just being honest with you that, hey, these are the things I need. I can't afford to do it myself, but if you're willing to support my ministry, then we can make this happen. And you have, and we continue to use it. So there's this camera, but then later on, you helped me get another camera. So now when you go to Mark Baze Ministries, and you want to watch our sermons. As a matter of fact, we went live Wednesday night for the first time, Wednesday night Bible study live, and here it is. This was our live stream on YouTube, and it was also on Worshipify. But we were streaming our Wednesday night Bible service, all made possible by you. That's the camera that you helped to provide, and also using streaming equipment that you helped provide. So you have done so much for this ministry to make it possible for me to be able to have the equipment needed to be able to stream, to broadcast, to share our studies and our work. But furthermore, you've also helped make it possible for me to have the time to be able to do more things for the ministry. So one of the things I was telling you is, if you can support my ministry, you're also buying me time that I can pay a babysitter to help watch our kids so I can go to the church and I can install equipment and I can get these different things done. So thanks so much to your kindness and your consideration and your support, we were able to do this thing. So something kind of quite an undertaking. But we decided to do a different kind of video format. And I've only got 2 videos made so far, but I want to make a lot more of them. Once again, it's a matter of time and prepping and getting the work done. But I decided that let's try a different kind of video format, a different kind of content style. So where some people may balk at the longer style teachings, verse by verse, or even the live streams and the full hour show, I decided, hey, why don't we try a more edited and more produced, I guess, type format, shorter videos discussing really important matters. So this is where we launched the small church video. And that one really took off. It allowed us to reach people like Rick. It allowed us to reach people like Alan and a number of others that have reached out to me. And so once again, I just cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. That right there, not only was that your donations on display, providing the audio, providing the video, but it's also your support that provided the time for me to come up here by myself in an empty church, setting up the camera, talking, and then editing while I was able to have people help me with our children, because we now had triplets at this time. And so with that, it's been an exciting first year. I really did not know what to expect when we first launched, when we first started this ministry. I was hoping that I would get a few people who were interested and followed along, but it's really turned into more than that. We've had people from Texas come visit the church. We've had people from Western Oklahoma. Chuck came, visit the church. We had Rick drive out from North Carolina. And now we're getting ready to do a Bible conference. And I'm hoping that so many of you can join us. I just cannot tell you how much it means to me that you think this ministry is worth investing in. And when I was, a year and a half younger, I was talking to Dr. White about all this, and I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. I had taught for 5 years, getting my wife through medical school, and now she's in residency, and she's actually making enough money to start helping pay bills and things like that. And I tried to think through what I wanted to do. And I talked to Dr. White, I talked to my dad, and just consulted people that I think had good wisdom for me. And they encouraged me, you've got to pursue what you think is important and matters. And so I decided I'm going to try to make this attempt, to make this effort to carry out this ministry. And I'll tell you this, one of the things about my ministry, I want to teach you good sound doctrine, but as I look at the people on this list, I'm just scrolling over here and looking at the live stream, so many of you that are here, you have already excellent Bible knowledge. It's not like I'm really teaching you a whole lot of new things. Maybe I've helped you understand some stuff. I certainly try. It's always my goal to help you grow in your knowledge, but so many of you were already excellent Bible students before you ever knew about me. But what I want to do, though, and I said this when I was interviewed very early on Ask the Theologian by Dr. White, I want my ministry to be encouraging to you, to give you a sense of hope that there are going to be younger Bible students, believers, defenders of the faith who are going to learn from you and all of your work and then carry it on. And that's really what I want to do for you. And then the younger people that come along that find me, or maybe the new people that had never heard of rightly dividing before they met me, or had never heard of contextualizing the Bible and really being careful about how we handle things and discerning between what's for Israel and what's for us. Certainly we want to teach them. But for you, I want it to be a source of encouragement to where you can, on a regular basis, tune in. You can see the next generation, those that you have raised, and I'm hoping that maybe you're feeling like your effort is not in vain, and that maybe in the coming years there will be more Bible teachers out there, that Dr. White won't be the last one, or our friends anywhere, whether it's Florida or in the Midwest, what have you, that there will be another, that they're going to try to carry on the work and do the best to their ability. Now, 2024 has been a busy year for me, I won't lie. And in some ways, we are further along in this ministry than I thought. I did not really anticipate us being able to do a daily show. I thought that it was going to maybe be, I wanted to do some kind of live stream, but I didn't necessarily plan on it being a daily thing. I thought it was going to be more of a weekly thing. But when we we went to Dallas to get ready for the babies to be born. Most of you know the story now. This time last year, my wife was very pregnant with triplets. I realized, I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands. I can spare an hour every morning Well, at the time it was a half-hour show, 30 minutes, and I can spare that time to do this show, and it just continued on from there. Once the babies were born, we've been doing it for almost a year. I basically started at the new year. The very first episode of Shields and Arrows, I think, was very close, very short order after New Year's. So if I go to my playlist and I look at the show, the first episode is, we went live for the first time, if I can find the episode. I can see episode number 4, which is the one I had clicked on. I don't know why I can't find the first one. It's there somewhere. But it was very close after New Year's. Very, very short order. And so we've been going for almost a year. Obviously, I've missed a few because this is only episode number 212, I think. So when the babies were born, I was off for a few days and things like that. Maybe I just didn't get that episode put in the playlist. I can't remember why. It's on there. You can find it though. So I missed a few days, and then when we got back, I obviously missed a little bit. I missed a week or two because I was having to try to get things set up at the house because I left the hotel, which had better internet service than what I had out here. We had to connect to the Starlink and get all of that going. And I will say, there were a lot of things that I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to make more videos of defending the faith. Those seem to be really effective at reaching people, not always retaining people. I jumped up at one point in time. I had 3,500 subscribers on YouTube after that video. And now I'm down to 3,350. So I've lost, a little over 100 subscribers. But I wanted to make more of those. I wanted to get more of a permanent setup. I just recently moved where I'm doing the show now. All that to say, I'm certainly not content with where things are at right now, okay? I want to accomplish a lot more. There's a lot more things I want to do for you. It took me way too long to get live streams going for church at Sundays and Wednesday nights. So all that to be said, if you're wondering, is this ministry in its final form? Is this how the ministry is going to be? I don't have those intentions. I plan on continuing to improve, continuing to grow it, absolutely. And so, that being said, stay tuned for 2025. We want to get more videos out there for you. We're going to continue to try to improve our quality of our productions. I certainly hope that we can get our audio issues. Sometimes at the church it's a little bit off, right? So we're always going to strive to make things better. Absolutely. Okay, I don't want to get stuck in a rut. I want to continue to look for ideas and ways. There are a few things, nothing major, but I'm excited about. I'm not going to tell you yet, but I am working on a few things. I'm working with Nathan on a few things, Nathan, the creator of Worshify. And so we've got some things in the works for you, things that I hope that you'll enjoy. I would go through and list all the people that helped me, but the thing is, I've had so many people help me, I would be afraid I'd leave people out. So I can't even begin. You know who you are, though. You know what you even helped to donate for, because many of you, when you would reach out to me, you said, hey, I want to help you get this, all right? I want to help you get this switcher board, this thing that's right here. You can probably see the light maybe flashing off my hand a little bit. I want to help you get this, or I want to help you get the laptop. I want to help you get this camera. And so you know who you are. If I just sat down and went through the list, I'd be able to name you, but we've had a lot of people. And here's the thing, a lot of people that you don't necessarily know. So there's been a few people at my church who they've been massive, massive supporters. And I told them they didn't have to because they're members of my church, but they wanted to anyways. We have a few people that don't really watch The Daily Show that you have never really seen. I've never even talked about necessarily. And they've been a major help as well. So more people than I can possibly list right now that have helped me make all of this possible. And so all that to be said, I'm excited for what the future has in store. This is probably going to be, and I say probably just because I'm not entirely certain, but this is probably going to be the last episode of Shields and Arrows for the year, okay? That's just because next week is going to be Christmas. We're going to be seeing family and doing all sorts of stuff. And then the very next week is New Year's. Now, it's not the last live stream I'm doing during the week, though, okay? I'm still going to be preaching on Sunday, obviously. We're not going to have any Wednesday night Bible study, though, okay? We'll resume Wednesday night on January 8th, okay? So you're going to see a drop, a delay in that. But on Monday, all right, excited to announce this. On Monday, I'm going to be a guest once again on the Grace Life podcast on YouTube, all right? And that's a 2-hour show. So if you want to have an extra hour of me during the week, go ahead and tune in on Monday. I'm going to be the guest just like I was a number of months ago on the Grace Life podcast. Fellow believers, right dividers out there in Florida. And you may hear us spar a little bit because, you know, hey, men are going to debate doctrine every now and then, right? And it'll be a good time. Joel and them are great people. So, I'm sorry. I hope you can find a way to entertain yourself. How about you just go through and you can watch all the old episodes, right? And you can suffer through all the bad audio and the clips and whatnot. And let me as I get ready to talk a little bit about current events, the absolute pork spending bill that was just struck down. Very, very happy about that. You have done so much for me, as always. If there's anything that I can do, I don't think I'll ever be able to make it up to you, to really make it even for all you've done for me. But if there is anything that I can do for any of you in the future, I don't want you to hesitate to let me know. I want you to contact me. If there's a way that I can be of any aid, assistance to you, it's the least that I could do for you investing your time and your money in me. And once again, thank you so much. So I'm excited for what 2025 has. 2024 has been a great year. And now, with that, let's talk about this spending bill that got struck down recently. You know, Mike Johnson, he's kind of hit and miss. Sometimes, you think, hey, he's actually a halfway decent speaker, and then other times he does things that make you want to pull your hair out. What's the deal with these Republicans? Can't they just accept a win? But on December 17th, Congress proposed a stopgap bill, basically to avert government shutdown, to pass some essential funding for government operations to allow the government to continue to work. Now, it was it's a continuing resolutions bill is what it is. It was an absolute joke of a bill, all right? I think by all metrics, it was a joke bill. Maybe the one part that wasn't a joke, that was added on, technically, I guess, is going to be very controversial, and I'll explain myself in a minute. But from the Daily Wire, the continuing resolution seeks to provide funds to various departments through March 14th, 2025, so get them a few months. And then more than $100 billion in disaster aid. $100 billion. I wonder why we are in debt. The bill was absolutely absurd. It included in its 1,547 pages. That's how long this bill was. I am not an expert in writing bills, nor am I the son of a man who's an expert in writing bills. The entire idea of a bill being more than like a page and a half, honestly, even a whole page, is absurd. I think a whole bill, entire bill should fit on one page, and that could be in like size 18 font. This bill was massive and had some of the most ridiculous additions. There was a 1-year farm bill extension. Government subsidies have destroyed farming, okay? Just outright. I know that there's some confusion about this, that it's because of government aid and assistance that farms have been able to continue. Not actually the case. If the government just got out of subsidizing farming, we would be so much better off. So much better off. And farms could actually maybe become a viable means again for many people. but it included a 1-year farm bill extension. Pharmacy benefit management reform, because yes, that's a major part of the essential government spending for us to be able to fund all of our ridiculous operations. Money for submarines. Also, there were, it has sections in the bill to transfer jurisdiction of the RFK Stadium to D.C., to rebuild Maryland's Francis Scott Key Bridge, wrecked by a ship collision. Now, I know, right, like, that's Maryland's bridge, right? Isn't that kind of Maryland's problem? And I mean, I could be wrong, but doesn't Maryland have, like, a lot of money? Aren't they one of the, like, a pretty wealthy state? They've got, like, some really big cities and big businesses. I think they can afford to build their own bridge. Furthermore, you know, they want to do a few other things. They also wanted to add on a raise for Congress. Now, here's the thing. The numbers that I've seen for their proposed raise, and I have not read this bill, but from what I saw, it was only like a $6,600 raise. And Congress hasn't had a raise in like 15 years. That's probably okay. I know how terrible. Here's the thing. We've got to decide what we're going to do about Congress, okay? If Congress is to be a viable job to where you can make a living off the salary, I mean, D.C.'s expensive, people, okay? It just is, like so many other East Coast places, and like it's getting to be everywhere. I think what is the current salary for Congress? The compensation for most senators, Congress people, is $174,000 a year. I mean, is there anybody that would like to, you know, make that much? I'd be more than happy. I would take half that much, please. Half that much annually. But I don't know. It hasn't been raised in 15 years. $6,600 is not that much of a raise. I mean, it's nice. It's not going to massively change your life, though. Making an extra couple $100, you know, more a month. I know that's probably not a popular take. We should say they should make no money. We just got to decide. Either Congress is a job that you make, you know, no money off of, or, yeah, it's a job that you make decent pay, okay? Now, maybe you could buy a cheaper home in D.C., but with that being said, there probably are a number of expenses. They work a lot of hours. I know to a degree we want to say politicians don't do anything, but I would imagine being a member of Congress, you're on call 24/7. It's probably not the easiest job in the world. That's me being as absolutely gracious to them as I possibly can. I say all that to say the raise proposed for this bill is not my biggest complaint, okay? It's all the extra spending, whether it's disaster relief. I think the states would probably be... Here's the thing. If the federal government would just stay out of it, just leave the states alone and let them take care of themselves, they'd probably be okay. It's where the federal government comes in and says, hold on now, whoa, we're in charge, and then they don't do anything. That's the problem. Either carry out disaster relief and be helpful, or don't. That's my biggest position there. Now, it was a terrible bill, and ultimately, it did not pass. Now, Speaker Mike Johnson was supportive of it. He wanted to get it done. But thanks to the likes of Trump and Elon Musk, it did not pass. There were just so much extra stuff added that was not essential. There is absolutely a way to pass a bill to fund the government without having all of this extra garbage thrown on top of it. Now, here's the thing. They've got to get some kind of solution by midnight tonight. Okay? They've got to come to some solution or the government shuts down. For some reason, in our modern time, we treat the government shutting down as if it's some kind of absolute tragedy and disaster, and we're not going to survive. What's amazing is the government has shut down before, and we've been okay. Now, I will say, for me as an individual, I am a business owner. I have a small business, Baze Firearm Resource. I don't keep that a secret from you guys. And part of my job relies on the government being able to do the necessary paperwork to handle transfers of firearms and things like that. The process of approving forms for like Class 3 firearms, like silencers and things like that, that is not considered essential work. So when the government shuts down, so does the approval of these forms. And that does hurt my business to a degree because guys are having to wait on things getting approved. Wait times get longer. Things get backlogged. It's a big pain. With that being said, it's worth it to me to have business be slow for a few weeks or even a month than for the government to just keep dumping buckets of cash constantly, okay? For some reason, we've convinced ourselves that, if the party in power is going to face a lot of backlash if the government gets shut down, people are going to be super mad about it. I'm not convinced. I'm really not convinced. I think the American people are really just fed up with all of this money going to all of these ridiculous things. And like a bridge in Maryland, I think they would rather the government be responsible. Here's another thing I think the American people are sick and tired of. They are sick and tired of the government holding them to a high standard, making sure that they pay all their taxes just right. Or even like me being an FFL SOT. For firearms business, I have to keep track of my records. I have to keep track of my inventory. I have to make sure that my records are up to date and properly signed and handled in those manners. But the federal government can just lose track of firearms and give away machine guns to terrorists, and it's no big deal. It's okay. It's all fine. And yet, they want to try to throw FFLs in prison for having a typo on a form. They do not hold us to the standard that they hold themselves to because they're way more lenient with themselves than they ever are with us. So I think the American people are getting fed up with that. And I think that if the government shuts down for a little bit, I don't think they care. What are the major things affected by government shutdown? Let's just do a little bit of a search here. What happened? What things are affected by a government shutdown? Let's just see what happens. Here's from NBC. NBC is going to make it sound like a terrible thing, so they're going to give us the worst possible picture. As Congress debates the path forward, government operations that people rely on and paychecks for millions of federal workers hang in the balance. Oh, that's the problem. It's the federal workers don't get their paychecks, okay? That's the problem. Maybe we have too many federal workers, like way too many. Maybe we have too many people in the IRS. Maybe we have too many people that don't really do a lot of stuff. Maybe we could cut that out. And then if they were private sector people, if they worked in the private field, they would get paychecks because it doesn't matter if the government gets shut down. Let's see here. Governments that would be affected if the shutdown took place. So one of the things, they're trying to tug on heartstrings here. During a shutdown, the federal government would be unable to pay its millions of employees, including members of the military and reservists, just before the holidays. Hundreds of thousands of government workers could be furloughed, meaning they would temporarily stop going to work. I just don't think the American people are that worried about it, okay? I think it's the federal government people that are worried about it, that are upset about it, and maybe the major corporations that benefit from federal money, they would be upset about it. Military retiree benefits would continue to be paid out. So that's not going to stop. Active duty military wouldn't necessarily get paid during that time. Social Security checks, they go out to 73 million people in the United States. We're going to have to fix Social Security, people. Just saying. It would continue during the shutdown because it's considered mandatory spending. We got to be willing to take a lick instead of just continuing. Instead of just continuing to have these massive bills, okay? We got to put a stop to it somehow. It's not going to feel good. Alan says the VA would be closed. Maybe. I just did a quick research there, and maybe you know from experience there, Alan. I did a search here on the Department of Veteran Affairs, and it just said most VA operations would continue if there is a shutdown. So with it, I know a government shutdown would probably not be the most popular. It'd put some people in a bad spot, but at some point, somebody's going to have to change something, okay? And so we're going to see what they end up doing. I don't know. Has there been any new announcements at this point? Have they passed a new bill yet? Doesn't look like it. No, nothing yet. So we'll see. I don't necessarily want it to shut down. I'm not rooting for it. I'm just saying if it is past this ridiculous bill or the government shuts down for a little bit, then I'm leaning towards government shutting down for a little bit. Even if that hurts me personally, because it will. It will hurt my business personally. But it is what it is. Now, with that, let's talk quickly about Sunday. Sunday is going to be a special Christmas service. We're going to start out with our Sunday school class. We will be going live Sunday morning. We're going to be talking about why the virgin birth, why it's necessary. And then we're going to tell the Christmas story on Sunday morning for our Sunday sermon. I would love for you to be there with us. Monday, like I said, I want you to join us for our guest appearance on the Grace Life podcast. All you got to do is go to YouTube and just look up Grace Life podcast, Joel Hayes, something like that, and you'll find it. And I'll be on there. And then over the course of the break, like I said, be sure to reach out to me if you have anything at all. And stay tuned. I'm excited for what we have going on with our new things I want to do for the ministry, making some things much more accessible for you. And as well as be thinking about the Bible conference. If you have any questions on that, be sure to let me know, okay? I want to try to answer any question that you may have. That'll be March 28th through the 30th. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And other than that, kind of a simpler show today. We've got some things we're going to be getting ready to do. So I'm going to probably go ahead and cut it a little bit short today. I got to get ready to go see the parents. We've got a family Christmas get-together tonight. And so I hope that you have some fun plans as well. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't guess so. So if we're going to wrap it all up, let's see here. I'll let's do this. I'm going to let my boy close this out. Of course, he's going to be telling you welcome to Shields and Arrows, but still the sentiment's there, okay? So Jake, take it away. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you again for Shields and Arrows, most likely. If something big happens, if something major happens, I may do a special show, before the end of the year. But assuming everything kind of coasts along, which is kind of what I expect, You'll see me again in 2025, okay? All right, Jake, take it away.
Welcome to Jason Rose, defending in the faith.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Dr. Deaton. Hey.
Just a little bit.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, bye.